Hello everyone, my name is Fei Shuang. It's a great pleasure to be part of this conference today. I will be talking about development of public space at a commercial center towards a collaborative network in China. About myself, I was born in China. After I received a master's degree in architecture, I started my career as an architect as well as a teacher for many years. Last year, I started my PhD study at the University of Copenhagen, trying to understand how different agents could collaborate with each other in urban social-spatial relationships that guided by governance and capital, contributing to improve public space. My article title is Slow, Relaxed, and Social: The Right to Enjoy Public Space in Commercial Centers. Let's start from complex. Over the past couple of decades, complex has mushroomed, introducing a new type of commercial center in China, including a shopping mall, office buildings, hotels, residential housing, huge underground car parking lots, and a safe pedestrian zone. The scale and amount of complex is unprecedentedly growing in China's state-led and GDP growth-driven urbanization. With the length of building facade fronting streets increasing, the public space incorporated into the site is expanding, leaving streets with standardized stores and pavement. As Lefebvre notes, the architect has before him like a slice of space cut from larger holes. However, the public space in the site is well designed as a safe, comfortable, gentrified place with smaller, more pleasant streets. The only aim is to attract people to stay as long time as possible, which leading to consumptive possibility. Through this process, increasing the urban public space is transferred to so-called pseudo-public space or quasi-public space. It keeps reminding people of speeding their pace for seeking products or a place to stop and relax. Only if you tend to consume, you spontaneously slow down and use a producer public space for observing or being observed with sensation ease. Essentially, it reflects people's needs of social atmosphere. However, this experience is one that is heavily regulated and tied to consumerism. A controversial phenomenon here is that when people thought they paid for space for the feeling of a community connection, most interviewees said that they were less desire to communicate with others at a complex than on the streets or in the parks outside the enclave. It influences the way that we are constituted as subjects and the way we identify with others. The privatization of public space narrows our sensibility by diminishing the opportunities to encounter difference. Famous sociologist Richard Sennett names his book The Fall of Public Man. According to Crawford, the word man in the title highlights a key assumption of this position: an inability to conceive of identity in any but universalizing terms. The identified subject posit a normative condition of experience. Yet, what makes people relaxed and enjoyable in a space is critically related to the sensibility and ability to construct identity. According to Lu Andong and Dou Pingping, that in modernism context, deriving from a self-conscious experience of the relationship between the body and its surroundings environment, and the satisfaction it brings with, the concept of comfort, a sensation, ease, and pleasure implies sensitivity of subject on this relationship. To reconstruct the relationship between the subject and the environment, socially engaged art practices has been proved to provide a way. Emerging in Europe and the US in the 1990s, socially engaged art practice is also embraced by a number of architects, artists, practitioners, and researchers in China to explore the possibility of encounter an emotional connection for public, which correspondingly lead to public space transformation. In 2019 spring, a social engaged activity happened in a relic, Dragon Temple, which was at risk to be demolished for commercial development. It was an exhibition of design workshop of reusing Dragon Temple from Hunan University and Polytechnic University of Milan, which attracted people to discuss with designers, experience their work by VR, and interact with others by sending comments that can be shown on a large screen. This activity is supported by local authorities and in turn it pressured the government to take measures to preserve the old temple in commercial development. In 2018, a group of young people tried to talk vendors in a market, listen to their everyday stories, and photograph the vendors' hands with background of their goods. According to the initiators He Zhisun, an architect as well as a curator of art gallery, art should not be only in a gallery or art museum, but in everywhere for everyone. After this photographic was exhibited in the market, they at last was moved into a gallery that was adjacent to the market, which motivated vendors to enter into the gallery excitedly and curiously for the first time. These cases highlight the architect or artist's qualities as a meditator of agents purposefully involved in the shaping of knowledge through forging connections, translating messages into opportunities for people encountering. According to your curator and researcher Li Peiyi, she believes the artist acts as an interface for change, becoming an exchange platform to bring about collaboration between parties representing different disciplines or positions to create a win-win situation. Ewan Schneider and Thiel followed guidance in their book, Spatial Agency: Other Ways of Doing Architecture. A better definition in relation to spatial agency is that the agent is one who effects change through the empowerment of others, allowing them to engage in their spatial environments in ways previously unknown or unavailable to them, opening up new freedoms and potentials as a result of reconfigured social space. What is noticeable is that, comparing with those involved in the democratic Euro-American context, public in China shows less enthusiasm of their active participation in public space. One may argue it's attributable to the authoritarian approach of urban governance that denies the right of ordinary citizens to participate in the development and the transformation of their cities. I want to propose another critical factor that Chinese long history and culture's effects on the characteristics of social network. From China's most important anthropologist and sociologist Fei Shaotong, he proposed the term group pattern for describing Western society and used social circle to illustrate the society network in China. It means that Western society emphasizes relations to abstract connectives as compared to emphasizing relations among concrete people in Chinese society. The Chinese society are held together by the ritualistic notion of power, where obligation resulting from personal relationships. Thus, the center of power is not held by the state or the society, but by these ties. Therefore, people commonly consider obligation and right to public space within the familiar and steady social networks in a certain environment centered at selves. Yet, economic and cultural globalization has resulted in a network society dominated by flows of capital, ideas, and people. During this process, people's familiar experience of body-environment relationship is undermined, which is a critical factor to explain citizens' less motivation of evolving into socially participatory art in China than that in the West. These are the two main factors relating why most participatory art in China is carried out in a top-down manner, but it still plays a role in helping emotional connections, fostering relationship between bodies and environment, and potentially improve citizens' enthusiasm of social engagement in the China context. Involving participatory art and culture strategy, let's talk about a case of improving public space through a variant of complex. Wasserbound. Wasserbound used to be consisted of fragmented sites that occupied by many old state-owned factories and enterprises, which deprives the public of the right to get access to the waterfront view. After World Expo in Shanghai in 2010, leading by the local government, the land and industrial heritage along the water are revived for public, including open space, art museums, culture and creative cluster, jogging track, and sports ground. Based on the improved public facilities, a complex besides the waterfront open space was developed by a state-owned enterprises, while the other land along the open space was sold to powerful private enterprises for developing. With the art museums being attractive for public, artists and art collectors moving in the creative cluster, Shanghai successfully replaced Beijing as contemporary art center in China. From here, Shanghai Urban Space Art Season, which called SUSES, was launched in 2015, organizing by government, architects, curators, artists, urban planners, critics, and media. It enabled people to participate in various of culture and art activities, such as art exhibition, architecture exhibition, performance, and forums. SUSES continues at Pudong Riverside in 2017 and Yangpu Riverside in 2019, and now it has become a significant event that contributes to regional vitality in Shanghai. Pivotal factors that promote this variant of complex success could be concluded as following. First, in order to boost the economy, China has adopted a notion of culture and creative industries (CCI) that originated in the United Kingdom in the 1990s with great enthusiasm. In Shanghai Urban Master Plan 2017 to 2035, government set a goal to lead Shanghai to an excellent global city, an inviting, creative, humanistic, and ecologic city. Second, the first art tariff-free zone was approved when China-Shanghai Pilot Free Trade Zone is established, which tremendously diminished the cost of exhibition of artworks from abroad. Third, although public space improvement has critically politic discourse, local governments are gradually willing to hear professional advices from architecture, urban plan, and perspectives from other fields. While the open space and Wasserbound as well as the top-down strategy SUSES provide a great platform for slowing down, relaxing, and socializing without necessarily paying for consumption. The bottom-up participatory culture and art activities for collecting are under strict restriction from authorities. I argue that an effective framework should be constructed for motivating public to explore the critical potentials from the strategy. People have their end-user right to boosting our public space to a full-featured and vibrant place, not only during the SUSES, but also in every day. Urban problems are multidimensional and complex since they emerge in an intricate dynamic network of relationships from societal, economic, environmental, and political issues. Towards an approach to city complexity, the transformation of public space at a commercial center rely on reconstructing sustainable structure of network that involving not only the key agents and reasonable framework, but also sensibility and motivation from everyone as subject. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day.